Hello and welcome to another Zach Carnage deck profile, and this time we're doing something which is not a meta deck. This time we're taking a look at Zefras, with the aim to beat the meta while still maintaining a reasonably cheap version of the deck. So let's go ahead and break it down. So we start off by playing 3 copies of Zefra. This is our key searcher to get us into the field spell Oracle of Zefra, plus to get you Divine Strikes when you want to set up. We then have 1 copy of Zefraxi, which essentially is a tuner, but you only need 1 because it's reusable as it goes back into the deck. 3 copies of Zefrax Cyton. Who needs to play MST to get rid of set cards when you can just summon this guy? No, to be honest, you don't need MST in the deck because of a couple of other cards that I've got, but this guy does a pretty decent job, as well as Zefra Thuban. So we have an interesting bit of a Tellarknight engine in here, obviously, but we're only playing 2 copies of Zefra Thuban because it has low attack, and with this deck you need to push for damage, which is something that Zefrax Cyton does much better. We do have 2 copies of Tellarknight Altair to help out with the Tellarknight engine in this deck. This actually works really, really well. It allows you to pull off a lot of interesting combos with Baxia. See the combo video in the corner up there. 2 copies of Zefra Core. This also helps with your Exceed plays, and it's a Shadol name, which is always useful. 1 Zefra Naga for returning your Pendulum Scales to your hand, because in your end phase you don't want to leave Scales around, because people will hit you with Wavering Eyes if they draw it, people will hit you with their MSTs, or just find some other way to, like, Black Rose or something, so you really want to keep your Scales in your hand if possible. Then to finish up the Shadol engine, in terms of monsters, we're just playing 1 copy of each of the effect monsters. I think 1 copy is generally enough for this deck, although you might want to increase your Falco just for sustainability. We then play a mini Necros engine in the form of Unicorn, Clausulus, and Jin Deserera of Rituals. Obviously this is nowhere near as good as having Releaser was, just because you could stop your opponent immediately, but Releaser's now gone, so this is the engine that we have. It's still very versatile. It allows you to... Basically, this is just to counteract against extra deck monsters, which you will see a lot of now, because Shadols are coming back with Perform Mages, and obviously BA is still a thing. So Unicorn helps out a lot with that sort of stuff. Then we play the teeny tiny extra engine for Ritual Beast, which is just 2 Zefra and Pilica. Just being able to reuse stuff from the grave, again, is very useful. It helps you with your Synchro and your Exceed plays, so that's why we have it. And that's it for the monsters. And then for spells, we're obviously playing 3 copies of Oracle of Zefra. You need to be able to add stuff from your deck to your hand ASAP. Plus, you have to max out because you're searching these with Zefra in the first place. The extra effects are very, very useful. Check out the combo video for some interesting ideas relating to those. We play 2 Terraforming to speed this up a little bit. This is obviously meant to be a bit of a budget deck. So it doesn't include chicken games. I would put the chicken games in from my other decks if they were available at the time, and I'll tell you which cards I would take out, and then Terraforming could probably end up being 3. And we play 2 copies of Shadol Fusion. 3 becomes cloggy, but 2 is enough that you can still top deck it and just win via that, which is fantastic. We don't play El Shadol because there's not enough consistency with the deck. 2 copies of Wavering Eyes to essentially be placeholders for MST, because you don't need to destroy set back row so much, but you do need to get rid of Pendulum monsters still. Plus you can use it on your own if you need to fill up your extra deck more, which is still useful. These 2 would probably end up becoming chicken games though, if I switched it out. I really think that this deck can benefit from chicken game in that you're not pushing for tons and tons of damage. Then we play 1 Necros Cycle to get the Necros engine going, 1 Rota for extra searchability, and finally 1 Raigeki for destroying your opponent's field. Because if you can destroy their entire field and then Pendulum 5 and attack for game, you kind of have to do it. And then for the trap lineup, we have 1 Call Haunted. I just put this in to use with the Altair, which works really, really well, although I would switch this out for Chicken Game just to help the generic engine a bit more. Then we have 1 copy of Torrential Tribute as a staple trap, which is seriously, seriously good against Pendulum summons. I would play... I'm debating about switching this out for a Solemn Warning, just because that's even better. And then we play 2 copies of Divine Strike. Obviously this can stop the monster effects, spells and traps, so basically this covers pretty much everything. unless you go against ignites and then they just attack. But sometimes, like most of the time, they'll be making an extra deck monster anyway, and you could just get rid of it with this sort of thing. But that is it for the main deck. So next up, we will take a look at the extra deck. Now, obviously, extra deck is entirely down to player preference. So there are a few things in here which you might disagree with. There is one card which I would like to change, but let's get on with it. So you start off with a Castel, the Sky Blaster Musketeer. Obviously, it's a staple. Then we play a Ptolemaeus with a Diamond and a Pleiades. Pleiades is my favourite option of the 5s to go for. And we play the Diamond because you need an out to any dark deck, and that's Ptolemaeus is just for those, basically. That's it for the Exceed lineup. And we play one Metaphys Horus, one of the best cards in the extra deck. I might end up bumping this up to 2 if I can find a pair of ultis, because they look way better. But being able to steal your opponent's monster is fantastic. Then we play one Ancient Fairy Dragon to get into your Oracle just that little bit faster, because obviously you only get the activation once. Plus, it's a 3k defense, which is very, very nice for protecting your life points. And Black Rose you don't really want to summon, because if you're synchro summoning, then you've probably got full pendulum scales, and you don't want to be destroying your scales in this deck whenever you can avoid it. Then we play one Baxia for the combos, one Trishula because we can make this, which is absolutely fantastic. One Gigantic Castle, which I would switch out for Ptolemy M7 for the combos. One Leo because you can make it, and one Star Eater as your out to towers. And then obviously we have the obligatory fusion monsters, so we play one Winder, one Shekinaga, and 2 Construct, as Construct is the best fusion monster that you can make with this deck. So thanks for watching this video. If you have any comments or suggestions that you would like to make, feel free to leave those in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and check out the combo video for all sorts of ideas on how to use your own Zefra deck. Thanks for watching!